before the break, we asked how much can you be fined for not taking part in the census? The answer is a staggering £1,000.
First, this census, is it senseless? I got my form yesterday, and I imagine a lot of you have too, and Royal Mail notwithstanding. And on Sunday the 27th of March, we've got to down tools and fill them in. And today's form stretches over 32 tedious pages and contains 42 questions. Our first ever census in this country took place in 1801. Do you know how many questions were in that? 5. Times have changed. Does our government have the right, any right, to know what kind of heating you have in your home, or what your religion is, the address of your place of work, or whether you've been looking for work in the past couple of weeks? In fact, the numbers of questions about work make it look like it's an assassination on those without a job. Were you waiting to start a job already obtained? If you had a job within the last 2 weeks, could you have started it? Were you actively looking for any kind of paid work? Have you ever worked? Now, the government says it needs this information to cut benefits. Sorry, to better target services. And apparently £50 billion of public spending every year depends on data collected by the census. One of my favourite pressure groups, though, No to ID, which campaigns against what it calls the database state, describes the census as, and I quote, a bureaucratic assault on every family's privacy. The government doesn't need all this information to plan for public services, it says, nor does it need to spend £500 million collecting it. A No to ID alone, or do you have a problem with the census? Kirsty hit the streets to find out.
No, I don't. It's just a general census.
No, I've got nothing to hide, so, you know.
Not really, no. It's just being nosy, isn't it, really?
It's not so much invasive, it's kind of quite curious, really. How is your health in general? Well, I suppose that's something that they want to have a look at where they're going to put money in terms of the health service and stuff like that, but it's quite it's detailed, if you were to put it kindly. It's detailed.
Do you find any of this invasive?
All of it, yeah, all of it.
Joking.
I can't see why they're asking us that when, we fill in the electoral roll and they know who lives in the house already.
And we're just asking people who have received their oh my God, I've forgotten the name of it.
Census form?
Oh, Kirsty.
Why would they say that?
We're going to help you fill your form out.
Now, Levi.
You.
Information is power.
Yes.
So this is empowering to the government. But I worry, as that lady said, they look at the health things and they think, well, it's obviously to better tailor health services. The other way of looking at it is a better way of cutting health services.
Yeah.
Everybody says my general health is fine. What's the point of having doctors?
Yeah. Well, part of the problem that I find with this census is the silly things that they have inside, like, who visits you and who stays over at your house. And now it's made me realise that I've got to reveal that I've been keeping Elvis all this time. But it's just silly questions like that. I don't think this sort of thing people need. People like me that has a business, that goes through the supermarket. For instance, when we are ready to do with my business, my reggae sauce business.
Okay, careful, because off come all by my head off.
We can go to Tesco's or any supermarkets and find out exactly what people are buying, what they buy when they do with all sorts of stuff.
Some of the suggestions I've seen on tweets and emails and Facebooks are, why doesn't the government just pay Tesco or indeed any other supermarket chain for their customer loyalty cards and nick the information off there?
From them, yeah.
The interesting thing is, I wonder if you can object to doing the census, Janet, if you're on Facebook, of course, where you give all the information away for free for a group of Americans to cash in and spend it on massive houses.
I'm not on Facebook, although I am on Twitter. But I do think that it's a social document as much as anything else, and this information is known about all of us in various areas. It's just a way of correlating it. I feel exactly the same about ID cards. People are still people, no matter what you do. This is not Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. This is a social document of interest in a few years' time when it's revealed. I think it's 50 years on. The last one was revealed to our great astonishment and wonder because it's a historical document. And I do think all this, I've got nothing to hide.
It's a big amount of money in a hard time when you're sacking 20 or getting rid of 28,000 police officers and backroom staff to spend £500 million on a social document that's going to be interesting to people 50 years down the line.
Yeah, of course it has a wider use than that. And actually, I do think it informs the way communities live. And that's why people should be involved in local politics, because if they're acting on the information that you've given them and you don't agree with it, go and vote them out or stand yourself.
Expenses aren't good enough, that's the trouble with local politics.
It's a way of getting people involved in their communities. We live in communities, we enjoy that, we reap the benefits, we get on the buses because of it, and we die and live because of it. So I think to join in once every 10 years is not a big ask.
OK. £500 million, good money, good value. Dominic?
Well, I think...
How do you usually travel to work? Do you work mainly at home? Drive a car or van? Passenger in a car or van? Bicycle on foot? Other?
Right, scooter.
Helicopter. You put that one down for you, Levi, shall we?
Well, I expect, I think this is a factor of the size of our government. We expect our government now to provide so much for us, to educate us, to keep our health, to provide us with benefits, to provide us with social security, anti-discrimination laws, and therefore, if we expect all that from our government, then we can't be surprised when they need to know
So no problem with it?
Well, I think it'll probably be a folly. I think it'll be probably not particularly useful. I think people will be disingenuous. They'll put Jedi...
It's 10 years too often. I say, why not once every 25 years? We're all living longer, so, the rate of change...
Matthew, in answer to... I'm fairly agnostic. I think it'll probably not be very useful, but however, I think it's a factor of we are so beholden to whichever government is in power that they need information. How many of us are there, where we're from, how old we are.
OK, and the visitors around your house as well, because that's obviously key, vital government information, that is. What is this person's usual address? Your visitors? None of your business. Let's find out what you have to say. Kirsty.
OK, we have Albert on line 1.
Albert, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
You got a problem with you got a problem with censuses? Sensi?
I'm going to return the census marked no contract, return to sender. It's going to be my first step towards openly engaging in lawful rebellion.
And what's your problem?
Government intrusion, basically. I mean, my slogan is going to be, it's time to stand up and not be counted.
Now, do you pay tax, Albert? Do you have a job? Do you pay tax?
Currently, I'm on benefits.
OK.
So, if they want to fine me £1,000 for not filling in this form, then it'll be their own money. I'll just give them some tax.
Have you worked?
Yeah.
OK, so you have worked, you have paid tax. Well, you might have paid tax. Assuming you have paid tax, don't you want the government to use your taxes more efficiently?
Well, I don't want them to bully me for a start, threatening me with £1,000 fine for giving them my information.
Carrots, not sticks.
Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't mind giving them some information, but, if they're going to bully me by doing that. And also, I have two other main problems, Matthew. One is that the data is gathered by a massive foreign military organisation, Lockheed Martin. There's absolutely no need for a military organisation to be collecting this data.
Is that right? Okay.
And the other...
That's not what we've actually... Sorry, Albert. Albert. Screechy woman say, speak the truth there. We've looked into this, and that's not the case. Maybe a bit of misinformation going around.
OK, well, I'd have to look further on that. Look on a site called lawfulrebellion.org.
OK, I'll check them out. Albert, thank you. I love a voice of dissent here and there.
OK, we have Imogen next on line 3.
Imogen, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Are you in favour of the census?
Yes, absolutely.
OK, why?
Because as a historian, I think that it gives you valuable information. Even if it's stuff you don't want to put down, it's not anything that anybody's going to know for another 100 years. So I don't see the point of restricting everybody in the future from knowing how the country is, how neighbourhoods
every 10 years, Imogen?
how houses are, how people are.
Every 10 years? You don't think that's quite a narrow interval when we're living to, 80 years plus?
Well, is your life the same as it was 10 years ago?
Yeah. Apart from the fact I'm homeless, I've got a wife leeching off me and God knows what else. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Mine isn't, as far as if you want to look into a snapshot of history, then this is the way to do it. Admitted, I agree with you, it's too full on. I mean, there's a lot of information here. If you look back to the 1851, there's absolutely a fraction of that information, but that information is always useful. OK, well, all information is useful, OK? All information is useful, and the more information you have, the more power you have. But the question is, do we want to empower the individual, OK, living in a free country, or do we want to empower the government, which can often use information against us? Just throwing out ideas. If they get rid of the census, what information will they be using?
I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm saying let's have it once every 25 years and let's bring it down to under 20 pages with fewer questions.
At least this information, it correlates you as a human being. It isn't just what you spend your money on or where you go on holiday or how you educate your children. Why should the government know
who stays at my house and where they live?
Because it's societal, I suppose, and presumably on all the questions...
No such thing as society. Maggie told me that.
Oh, yeah, it was Maggie. Yeah.
Got to go to a break. Thank you, Imogen. It's nice to speak to I assume, a professional historian as well on the show. Fantastic. After the ads...